Welcome to Co-op Mode, round 150. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I am Todd Oxtra, a little bit older, a little bit wiser, but we have survived 5 years of Co-op Mode, from humble beginnings to lots of fun, making lots of friends, and lots of stories along the way. I have a son in college. That's crazy. Mark's got a 4-year-old now, which is crazy. And we are looking back with a very special person this episode. But I am joined by my Canardian, my Timbit, Mr. Mark, the Canardian Carabin.
My Tim. I'm never going to accept another nickname other than my Timbit from now on. That is fantastic.
Mark, they said it wouldn't last. I know 5 years, people get the 7 year itch, they start looking around.
Right. Yeah. So we
got
another couple of years. Yeah, we got a couple of years till we start to get itchy.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. No.
Very, very good.
No itchiness from my time with Todd. A couple of rashes.
Yep.
Yeah. A couple of things that doctors were just like, ugh, what is that? But no itchiness.
Little couples therapy, considering what I do to Mark every episode, making him wonder why he appears every 2 weeks. But hey, it's about the love and the dedication. Mark's a man to keep his vows. But we are joined by a very special person this episode, and that is our first guest, Mr. Lee Navarro from Phoenix Overdrive and the wonderful people that make the Extra Life dream happen. Lee, welcome back. It's been too long, my friend.
It has been. Thank you guys for having me on here for your milestone episode, and congratulations to both of you. I mean, we all know podcasting can be a difficult game, and to get to 150 episodes, that's remarkable for both of you. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been, we'll give a little bit of background for the people that are enjoying this, but I think we'll take care of some business first, then we'll get into, what's happened over the last 150 episodes, 5 years. Our math is pretty bad because we really should have celebrated this in January, but that's okay. we wanted to hit a special number too. But with that, we need to thank the special people that we actually kicked off Patreon, just about 2 years ago, almost 2 years ago, and they've made the Secret Friends Unite and Co-op Mode even better. So, Mark, please thank these wonderful people.
Absolutely, yeah. The people I have to thank come from patreon.com/secretfriendsunite, where you can head right now for a free 7-day, 1-week trial where you can listen to all the shows ad-free, get extra bonus shows, extra bonus content, early stuff. It's all there. You get special privileges in our Discord server as well. But I have to thank, first off, a new member for Patreon, checking out that free trial that I just mentioned, a person by the name of Shihab. Don't know too much more about that person. Todd, do you have any info on our new surprise guest?
I think I might, but I don't know.
Okay.
We've had a few new people show up in our Discord, and they also DM'd us on our Instagram, which... Awesome. I often forget that I have to check instant messages on Instagram because apparently Thread still doesn't have them. So I'm like, hey, Mark and Charlie, check our Instagrams because I think people are wanting to connect with us. So I think that might be one of the people that connected with us. So
awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for checking us out. We appreciate it. We hope you stick around in one way or another. And we're lucky and thankful to have you. But I also have to thank the regular occurring guests and regular occurring supporters, including our besties tier, Derek Trevelyan, aka the Figure Dude, Francie, the official hairstylist of Secret Friends Unite, the Xbox Expansion Pass, and Charlie's Uncle Tim, as well as the Friends with Benefits tier, John Sedorf, Phoenix Sisters Entertainment, Brendan Myers, Corey in HD. Listen to all those shows over at the Boss Rush Network, and Matthew Keel. And of course, we have to thank our Secret Friends Super Squad, the one and only, absolutely amazing Sean, Stella, and Henry Nias, the Nias family. You guys are incredible. Again, thank you to everyone that supports us. If you want to check us out, check out that free 7-day trial. You get all these benefits and bonuses for as little as $2 a month. If you feel like checking this out, if you want to throw a couple of bucks our way, that is awesome. If you can't or just don't feel like it, sharing the show, sharing YouTube link, all that kind of stuff helps us out immensely. You do not have to do any kind of monetary donation to make us feel great. You can just tell someone about the show, tell someone about the network, and we appreciate it all. It all goes a long way. So thank you, everyone that supports this show.
All right. Well, we want to say thank you to all our Patreons, but this is where the show gets a little bit fun. We do a little bit of a look back. I'm not a big, nostalgic guy where I talk about everything, but for anybody who is new to this show, our humble beginnings began with Mark, who was a former podcaster with the Warp Whistle podcast. I had done a video game podcast on a separate network. That's how I got to know about podcasting. Charlie didn't let me talk about video games. Mark said, I want to talk about video games. And he reached out to me. I think he wanted to do his own segment. I said, I want to talk about video games too. And he said, okay, I guess you can come along for the journey. So we decided to do a 15-minute segment as a interstitial on Secret Friendship.
That was it. Yeah, it's just supposed to kind of fit in there. I think someone else was doing that. Was Luke Lore doing that on someone else's podcast or something? There was some sort of
again.
I know I stole that idea from another podcast. It was shoot.
Okay, can we keep going, or it's still recording? I think we're okay, right?
Still recording. Okay, Lee, jump back when you can. If you're hearing
we
this,
lost Lee again, just behind the curtain. We lost. Yeah. Oh, he's back again.
Back. All right.
There it is. Okay.
So
there we go.
Oh, somebody turn off their hairdryer. Don't turn the hairdryer on when Lee's recording.
Yeah.
So Lee is back, but we'll get through this. So Mark, I think Luke was on. He was on something, and then he joined Sean on the Xbox Drive. Mm-hmm. Luke struck out on his own, did his own just solo podcast, and then he found Logan as a a spare, as I would say, or a new co-host. So I don't know. It's really weird to do that kind of jumping in as a segment in a thing. Yeah. So it's worked out pretty well.
That's and that's that. I knew I had heard that. I wasn't quite done podcasting, but I knew I kind of had to end the Warp Whistle as it was, and wasn't quite sure about what the in-between was. But I had the gear and still wanted to talk. So, and I had listened to you guys for a long time and loved the show, but I was like, man, they don't have a video game segment. That's the one kind of nerdy thing that they're missing, right? And I knew Charlie wasn't up for that. I think you guys made it pretty clear on your show of you can't talk about video games. Charlie can't talk about cosplay. You make it work, and that's how you keep the peace. So it's well, maybe I can do that, and me wanting to do it on my own was literally just trying to make it as less stressful and less of a pain in your butt as possible. Because if I could do it myself and then email you a 10-minute clip, then you didn't have to worry about it. It was just additional content for your listeners, for your show, that you didn't have to do anything other than drop it in somewhere. And that was it, right? It was hopefully very simple, and it became very, very complicated very quickly because you wanted to jump in, and then it became longer and then spun off. And now we have a network of shows and all this stuff. But I love how it snowballed. It was just not what I was expecting, but it turned out for the best, I think.
No, it's worked out really well because people have gotten to cover areas that they love. And that's really what it's all about. It's one show cannot be everything to everyone. And that's what the whole point of doing our network was. And that's why we're doing the shows we can because of our Patreon. It's a lot of fun. So, and who knows where we'll be in the next 5 years. But it's been a lot of fun. We've started recording in 2019. Mark didn't have a kid. My son was in high school. Now he's a college freshman. And Mark's got a 4-year-old. So many people have had many, situations going forward, and even saw Twitter in the chat. he mentioned that, that's when he started listening to us in 2019. So he's been along for the ride. So Schloss, thank you so much for being a huge part of our show and making the show happen. But Mark, I want to give you some fun facts because that's what I do. I love fun facts. Mark's always amazed by our fun facts.
Go.
Lee, hold your horses. Here we go. Fun facts. In the 5 years we've done the show, we do this every 2 weeks. So we'd average about 25 episodes a year. We've had 83 guests, Mark. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that's really good. Considering there were a bunch of episodes, I feel like there's a lot of episodes that it was like, we can't find a guest, or like, oh, it's like last minute, should we? Yeah, let's just do it ourselves because it's like something in the, we don't know exactly when we'll record this week because one of us is away or one of us is doing this or one of it, usually me, causing troubles and whatever. But yeah, so that's a great amount of guests. That's amazing.
It's about half of our episodes, so that's not too bad. A little bit greater than, so it's fun. We met some great new people, made some good friends, which has been amazing. We've had 52 buy rent returns, Mark. Our first episode was number 96. So it keeps happening. Maybe it'll stop. Nobody knows. 2020, Mark. We didn't call our game of the year the Couchies. We called it the Goaties the first year, and we didn't do it our first year of podcasting. We missed 2019, so I don't know why, but we didn't do it. So 2022 was the Goaties, and our award winner was Immortals Phoenix Rising. That was our
good game. Great game. Yeah, so still game. Sour they never got a sequel.
No, very sucky.
I've yet to touch that game.
Oh, Lee, it's so good. Especially
it's a good one.
It's on my backlog.
It's a Zelda-like before we had like a lot of different Zelda-likes, and it just had a cool mix of things, and I was excited to see where they went. 2021. This is the first year of the Couchies. Apparently we decided on it. Let's do this. Let's be serious about our couch. Halo Infinite was our game of the year, Mark.
Was it though? That is something.
Well, I had to look because we didn't have. I didn't see I saw it on your list. I saw it on my list. It was like 6 on my list. It was 2 on your list. Yeah,
2. God, I'm stupid.
Yeah. All right. This is the interesting one. I don't know about this one, Mark. So in 2022, our game of the year was either Vampire Saviors or TMNT Shredder's Revenge. I could only guess because it was my. I could look at my top 10 list. I don't know which one was on yours.
Is that Vampire Saviors or Vampire Survivors, right?
Which one is it? Is it Survivors or Saviors?
Survivors.
And Vampire Survivors 1,000% won that year, I remember.
Okay. Okay, that's what it is. Vampire Saviors is also known as Darkstalkers. That's why I get it confused.
Okay. Yeah, Vampire Survivors definitely won that year because that game is incredible. I still play it to this day. Yeah, great game. Definitely. I remember that one winning because I was like, how the hell did this just win? Because someone had bugged me to play it, and it was like, I missed it until like right before we recorded. And I was like, I guess I should probably play this before we talk about game of the year because this is weirdly making some lists. How is this making? Oh my God, it's amazing. So,
and now it's a genre. Like Survivor likes, and everybody has one, and it's a lot of fun. And this game is like $3 still, and they have all the DLC. And I think if you bought everything, it'd still be under like $10. So on everything. Mobile, the mobile app is great. The mobile app is great. It's great on console. Yeah,
and it's free if you have Apple Arcade. There is an Apple Arcade version that's just included with the subscription. But it's
there you go.
It's very affordable.
Even the stupid mobile app is free. I think you don't need anything for that. So it's great. I played in Germany with my controller. It was great when I had my phone. So it was great. You can play it locally. You don't even need an internet connection, which is amazing.
And weirdly worked really well on Switch too.
Yeah, it works.
Like with all the stuff going on, it's still
with all those high-powered graphics. How could the Switch do that work?
There's a lot of stuff going on that screen.
There is. It's a lot of things. It's like
the Switch to run like the hot trash in the summer.
I have a story for you guys about Vampire Survivors for myself during our game discussion. So I'll bring that up later.
Okay. The funny part is like my son is the exact model of that because he's a Minecraft guy, but he does like all of the Minecraft like servers and things that are just like ridiculous. Like you could not do those unless you had like a ridiculous like GPU or something like that, because there's just so much geometry and everything happening, but it still looks like baby's first video game. So crazy. And then in 2023, Mark, so last year was Jedi Survivor. Well deserved, great
Very
sequel.
well deserved.
Yeah, so that one was not hard for us to get. So sometimes we have to dig deep, typically do our top 5, and then we go to like the next 5 down for Mark and I to figure out what is our combined likes. This year will be interesting because Mark, you've been kind of focused on like a few games. So I'm waiting to see what your breakout for the end of the year will be.
Oh, it's going to be weird. It's going to be like Pokemon Fire Red, Pikmin 4, and I don't even know.
Star Wars Bounty Hunters or Star Wars Hunters or whatever it's called. So you're going to have to dig deep, Mark. You're going to have to play a little bit out of your realm to get something on the top 10. So
yeah, I gotta step up my game and play some new games.
It might have been Assassin's Creed, but that's not coming out this year.
I know. What the heck?
We'll see. Yeah. We'll see where we're gonna go. So those are the fun facts. But then I wanted to say just really quickly, as we look back, to 2019, kind of what was going on in the world of gaming. I'll just go break down these biggest stories of 2019. Here we go. PT. They finally revealed that they hacked the camera in PT. Remember the PT game that came out on the PS4? It was like a limited experience. They took it off the PS Store, so people that had on their PS4, they could sell that PS4 for a lot of money. But somebody hacked it, and they could basically hack it so they could see behind the camera that Lisa was always behind you. That's crazy. It's a creepy game. I played it. Very odd. Diablo 4 was announced. Hard to believe it's been that long since it was announced. Holy crap. Let's see. PS Plus games are... Okay, that's not a story. The PS Plus games being announced, not a story. Kingdom Hearts 3 English voice cast was announced. Overwatch 2 to feature new PvE missions, new game mode, and Hero 32. That didn't happen. Overwatch 2 had no PvE, no story mode, and it's now free to play. Yep. PlayStation Now gets big price cut. Funny thing is, PlayStation Now doesn't exist. Fun times.
It's wild to see how many of these things either like don't exist anymore,
so
completely changed, flopped, just came out last year after being announced 5 years ago. Like, just it's wild.
That's where we're at. I mean, EA responds to reports of alleged Star Wars game cancellation. I'm guessing that's right because, I mean, outside of the Survivor games and or the Jedi games, and outside of 2 Battlefront games, that's all EA's done.
I believe this one was the Star Wars, like the bounty hunter open world kind of game. I think that's what this one was.
Okay, moving on. Oh, no. Square Enix Marvel game is called Marvel's Avengers. Oh, R.I.P.
That game's going to come up later for me.
Oh, good. Okay, there's a Fortnite story. Here we go, Mark. Pokemon Sword and Shield for Nintendo Switch confirmed.
Sword and Shield. Wow. Okay. So we've gotten 2 Pokemon games since then. So we got Sword and Shield and we got Scarlet and Violet. Wow.
And Arceus.
Jeez. Pokemon.
And Pokemon
and we
Snap.
got Brilliant Diamond and Snap. Wow. That is
Pokemon Snap.
That's a crazy amount. Like, it feels like Pokemon generations move pretty slowly at sometimes, but geez, that's a quick pace.
Good thing Game Freak's good at development and has great frame rates, and their games perform great.
Yeah, they all go through rigorous testing and quality assurance.
No wonder they can put out all those games. I'm sure they don't have children in factories making these games.
No,
one drawing at a time.
No.
Here we go. Xbox Series X revealed at the Game Awards. Remember that?
Oh God, I do.
The Tower of Power. It was going to be the most powerful game system. And now we've got the PlayStation 5 Pro, which is now the most powerful gaming system, which is going to have Xbox games running better on the PlayStation 5 Pro than the Series X. But what is our world turned into? Here we go. New patent reveals PlayStation 5 controller design. So we did get the DualSense with all of the haptics and all that fun stuff. So that was kind of cool. Here's a good one. Google Stadia streaming platform launch. Game and feature details revealed. Give me 1 second. RIP Stadia controller. It's the last man standing. It's been unlocked. Bluetooth works. Doesn't work on Xbox. Game Pass on PC though. it just did not want to work.
So weird.
Let's see. Here we go. PlayStation 5 gets a holiday 2020 release. And then Super Smash Brothers Ultimate DLC roster reportedly leaked. Wow, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they
let's see how many were correct. So there's Hero from Dragon Quest, correct. Ryu from Ninja Gaiden, incorrect. Steve from Minecraft was correct, and Doom Guy, not correct. Well, we got me character dress ups as Doom Guy and maybe potentially Ryu from Ninja Gaiden. I can't remember. Interesting. So those leaks largely incorrect.
Did you know that the hero from Dragon Quest, his name was Erdrick?
I did not.
Okay. So that's 2019, folks. Feels like, that was right before next gen systems launched, before COVID happened. So it was like a different world. Very
much so.
Very different time. It was a very different time for sure.
Oh my goodness. Well, there we go. That is our look back. But we do have a question from Schlossritter. And he says, what game franchise was your biggest surprise love in the last 5 years and your biggest disappointment? So, Lee, this is going to be a hard one because you have to remember what games came out in the last 5 years.
Right.
So, biggest surprise love and your biggest disappointment.
Surprise love.
Yes.
Is actually, you know what?
I would love it.
You know what? I'm actually going to say Vampire Survivors became a surprise love.
That was going to probably be mine too.
It was just like from what Mark said. It just hit so hard when I first saw it. I said, "All right, well, what are you? You're just moving around. You're not really doing anything." And then I tried it out and realized, oh, that's why it's a ton of fun, because there's just so much that you can do in the game with minimal action, really. It's you're basically was just moving your character around, but in reality, you just have to observe a lot of different things going on in your screen in order to make sure you unlock this character or you are revealing this secret.
Easy to understand, hard to master.
Exactly. So, but it really just became a very meaningful and lasting type of game that to this day, not just on my phone, not just on my iPad, I have it on Steam, I have it on Xbox. So, I just have it in so many different places because I just enjoyed playing the hell out of it.
I bet you could play that game on the outside of the Vegas sphere.
That'd be cool.
That'd be really cool.
I would be so all over that.
They had Tetris at playing on the outside of the Vegas sphere. It was very cool. Yeah.
And biggest disappointment. Oh, that's a good question, because there's been a lot of games that have come out that have been like, well, this could have been polished a lot better. I'm going to have to pass on that one because I tend to focus on things that don't disappoint, I guess. Like I'm at an age, and this may be me dating myself here, but if something isn't really worthwhile, I'm not going to bother.
Yeah.
Right? It's just no longer feasible for me to waste time on something that I want no part of when it's very apparent. That's the case with it. So I'm gonna let me think about this one. I'll pass it off to you guys right now, and let me think about this one. Maybe one of your answers will inspire me. Let's put
Something
it that
may
way.
jog your memory, right?
Yeah.
The feeling you're like, oh,
sure.
Yeah. Or you blocked it out because of mental trauma.
It could be that.
We'll see.
Yeah.
A lot of things happen in 2020, so we don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Mark.
Well, I'll start off with a disappointment. Just this might refresh your memory. I'm gonna throw out Marvel's Avengers. That was I love that we're going through an Avengers an MCU rewatch. My wife and I right now. We just finished Infinity War and Ant-Man and the Wasp this weekend. So we're gearing up for Captain Marvel and Endgame. I love that cinematic universe. I love those movies. I love those comics, those heroes. To have a game that I think had so much potential, or should have had so much potential, with at that time Marvel was like at the top of the world, right? Like since then, people have, I think, kind of cooled on the MCU, and people say it's dead, and then it's back, and it's dead, and it's back, and it's like, I think, pretty consistent when you look at it kind of objectively, but like whatever, I'm not going to get into that right now. Although Agatha all along has been surprisingly amazing. I didn't expect to like that one.
I love it.
So weird. I just downloaded. No, I'm not going to give spoilers here. It's a 3D print file for a certain thing that popped up in the last episode. But so there. I really expected to like this more, and it was just handicapped by so many things that held it down, for like movement and the live service and just the costumes and just weird stuff. And they just never, it was like they didn't stick the landing on any single aspect of it, aside from like parts of the story. Maybe I thought were like, it was kind of an interesting place to meet the Avengers, in that, like the story had a little bit of promise, and centering it around like Miss Marvel kind of like getting the team back together, I thought was an interesting curve. Because they really could have just copied the MCU and just called it a day. But, they took some swings that way, but I think everything else was just hampered by, seemed like, higher ups. So I'm going to say Marvel Avengers. And now it's just gone. It's just gone.
I mean, you can still play, like, I think you can still like play with bots and maybe just the campaign, which I would say, I don't even know if you can buy the campaign. I know I bought it just because as a thing where I'm like, if I ever want to look back and play it, play around with it, because those characters, excluding some of the things, the gameplay was pretty fun. I enjoyed it. The characters didn't always look great. I didn't buy into the cosmetics and the weird, like, 85 different currencies. And then, quite honestly, I will say, like, the Black Panther DLC was kind of cool. But, man, focusing on two Hawkeyes right away out of the box, I'm like, what are we doing? And then Spider-Man's, even though we said it was the thing about Spider-Man being on PlayStation 5, what we got on PlayStation was horrible anyways. It was bad. Yeah. Spider-Man was a cool character, but what they did with him, it was bad. So it was like, you didn't miss out, I guess.
Yeah. So that one was definitely disappointing, but like Lee, I try not to focus on some bad stuff. So I'm going to switch very quickly to good stuff. And okay, I have two different answers to this one, because one, I think, was like a genuine shock that we got this game to begin with. And that's Metroid Dread. If you had to put like a 2D amazing Metroid game on any bingo card for the last 5 years, I would like, no, Metroid Prime is supposed to be coming out. Why would they be like, that game's going to come out before another 2D one, right? Like, obviously, right? No. Yeah. So I didn't see that one coming at all. And that game was so good start to finish. I also didn't expect, just on a personal note, I didn't expect to get addicted to Marvel Snap. I've since, kind of like bounced on Marvel Snap. But for me, a card game never keeps my attention. I just cannot get into them. I have tried so many times with so many different franchises, just like original IPs, existing IPs, all that kind of stuff. I've never, ever been able to get into a card game. And this one grabbed me for months, which I think is saying something. And Vampire Survivors, I think, Lee, you nailed it with that one. I just didn't expect that. But like that style of game, I would have imagined me getting interested in years before Marvel Snap. And I don't know, like that one was a big shock for me, just on a personal note.
It took over everybody. I mean, if you didn't like card games, I played it for a little bit, enjoyed it, and I'm like, I see where this is going. I'm not good at card games. I had a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Put it away. That's good. It's good. Yeah.
What about you?
Okay. So, biggest surprise love in the last 5 years. Holy cow. This is a hard one because I've had a lot of games that just came out of the woodwork and I've just enjoyed them. But had to be Hogwarts Legacy because I had been so disappointed with Harry Potter the Hogwarts world with all of the creatures movies, the last 3 years or of those movies. I haven't even seen the last one. I eventually will. But
Skippable.
I love that world. I love that universe. I remember reading the book when I was in Korea and going to Universal Studios with my family. It was a magical time. Loved to pieces. When that game came out, I'm like, this is what I wanted. But will it live up to its promise? Will it be good? And holy crap, I just loved it to pieces. Had nothing to do with Harry Potter, except we're in that world, which is exactly what I wanted. I'm like, there's more stories in this universe other than Harry Potter. And that's exactly how it worked. I loved being a student. I'm so excited. There's actually a Game of the Year or Collector's Edition coming out where it'll be released with new DLC, but you can also buy the DLC if you already bought the game, which I think is fantastic. Yeah. So that was my surprise. And I know, Mark, I think Loren's still playing it 3 years later, whatever.
Yeah.
And I played it for years. And I know
5th playthrough or 4th or something like that. She's beaten it with all the houses. She's got all the achievements. She can't wait for this DLC. Yeah, what a lasting game in this household for sure.
Especially with the franchise that quite honestly feels like they're being abused by the creator of the franchise right now, where people that love that franchise, and unfortunately she's just got this opinion about the world that she can't shut up and just move on. So it's sad, but we still love the world. So that's mine for my biggest surprise love. Biggest disappointment. Wow, this is sad because I hate talking about bad things, but my biggest disappointment is we've got a great developer that I feel like is on the verge of potentially being shut down unless they deliver, and that's Rocksteady. Making Suicide Kills the Justice League, the game that nobody wanted.
Right.
And I'm like, at this point, that a game like that, and even WB has called out, oh, this game cost us like $200 million in lost profits, and WB is a dangerous place to be right now. So I'm like, that's why it's disappointing to me because they spent so much money on this, and I don't know if they're still going to make content. I think there's still like content coming up for this game. I'm like, I just want them to just say, sorry, folks, I know we promised, but we need to move on because this is not going to make our studio, survive. So I played a little bit of the beta. I'm like, sure, it's a little bit fun, but it's not what I want to do with that franchise. So that's my biggest disappointment. The fact that Rocksteady has spent almost 8 years making this game, and I hate to be the death of that studio. So I think that's a big part of the last 5 years is we see studios taking way too long to make games, and if they don't succeed, they potentially could be shuttered, which is just a dangerous game to play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Schloss. Well, we tried not. I should have ended it in a positive note. Started with a negative and went with a positive. But you know what? I'm going to a positive now with Buy Rent Return 2019 games. I picked 3 bangers, guys. 3 bangers. I could have picked more because there were so many good games in 2019. But I picked these because I'm like, it's a good assortment of different genres and platforms and things like that. Mm-hmm. So the games I picked of 2019 games were Gears 5, Star Wars, Jedi Fallen Order, and Control. All really solid games. Great. Big fandoms. Control's a new IP. Jedi Fallen Order was a new IP, and then Gears 5. It's kind of like the last Gears we got. It was on next gen consoles. Beautiful game, wonderful. Was it on next gen consoles? Xbox One and Series? I can't remember. No, it would have been on Xbox One because the consoles launched in 2020. So this was like the high end of Xbox One with this game. So Lee, let's go with you. These games, don't know if you played them or not, but of these, what would you buy? What would you rent? What would you return?
I would buy Gears 5. That was it's just one of my favorite franchises overall anyway to begin with. And so from I never got to finish it, but from what I did start in Gears 5, it was tremendous. It was fantastic. I know. Bad.
And did you play Hive Busters?
No.
Highbusters is amazing. It's like a 3
So
hour,
good.
like
Yeah.
it's like a weird co-op mission. It's totally weird. It's so much fun. It's totally
So I'll
online.
have to.
Mark and I played it.
I'll,
Yeah.
I'll have to. I'll have to get that. I'll have to get Gears on my Series X and get that playing again.
Lee,
So
challenge.
uh,
Play it for Extra
yeah,
Life. Play it
yeah,
on Extra Life. You got a reason. You're going to be gaming.
exactly,
Play it there, man.
exactly,
Believe me, the people you're with will have no problem say, Lee, let's gear up and beat this game.
exactly,
So
exactly.
there you go. I'm going to put a challenge out there. Sean Capri, all the crew, Extra Life.
Yeah.
You guys can knock it off quick, but it's an amazing game. And that's what I was going to say. There's one of my favorite parts of Gears, and I know people don't love this game specifically and are excited for E-Day, but I loved what they did at the end of this game, which is something very surprising, which I thought Gears would never do. But I won't spoil it to you. Mark, did you beat Gears 5? Okay,
I did.
so you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Nice
All right,
pick.
see, now I'm now definitely looking forward to diving back into it.
Yeah, sure do.
As far as my rent, I definitely will say Fallen Order. Only for the fact that I would return Control because something about Control just didn't sit well with me. Um, I felt it was sluggish. I felt it was it just didn't keep pace. Like the pacing was off for me.
Oh, okay.
Is what it comes down to. Right.
I was going to say,
Versus
it was sluggish, but I played it on PS4 because the tech wasn't strong.
No.
So
I played it on
sluggishes.
I played it on PC, so it wasn't sluggish for me. But
Pacing wise,
the pacing was, I don't know, just something about it just didn't just didn't fit. And maybe because I was rushing to find something in the game. Like my expectation of it and my perceptions of the game as far as what I had seen, I had a different idea as far as how the game was played. But in the overall, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm just saying it just didn't jive with me. But and besides that, like I said, Fallen Order, it's a Star Wars game. It's a fun game. What there's really nothing else that you can say about it other than that. It's an entirely different storyline and something that something that was original in a sense. So that'd probably be my reasoning for renting it. But out of all those, Gears 5, even though I'd never finished it, it's still right there, right at the top for me.
Yeah, good picks.
That's fair.
Okay, Marky Mark. I know you didn't play one of these games. I don't think. Maybe you'll surprise me.
I did. Actually, so I'm going to. I've played all of these games surprisingly, and I finished 2 of them. So that'll give you potential ordering of my feelings. Okay. So I'm gonna pick Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order for my buy. Love Cal Kestis. Love the story they told here. The gameplay a little bit janky. They definitely fixed a lot of stuff in Survivor, but I still couldn't get enough of this game, couldn't put it down when it came out. Gears 5 took me a while to beat. Like Lee, I dropped off. I eventually did go back, but it was a while later, and it was just one of those like, man, I haven't finished that. I should probably go back and do that. So it took me a while. Control, I have not gone back to. I had the same kind of like pacing issues, just didn't grip me. I bought the definitive edition, director's cut, whatever the hell it was, the special one that came out afterwards. Something about it just didn't grip me right away, and I played a bit of it, kind of dropped off, and it's weird. I actually just looked at it a week or 2 ago, and I was like, I should probably like get back into that game. And I know it's like critically acclaimed, and it's like
that's how I feel.
Play it but
there's like a sense of FOMO almost with it because you feel like you feel like, okay, what is it that it's you're just not getting? And I'm more or less criticizing myself really with what is it about this that you don't that I'm not accepting. And maybe it was just the time frame that I tried to play it, and maybe it was just other things were just gripping my attention. I don't know. It's something that maybe I should I look back into it? Should I see if I can play this again? I felt the same way with you about trying it again from the very beginning and seeing if it hits differently.
Yeah. At this point, if I go back, it's a full restart for sure.
Exactly.
Oh yeah. Once you're away from it, it's very hard because I would say it's a game that's very story heavy as well as action packed. So it's a little bit of both. Plus, there's a lot of leveling up and things because it does get very difficult. There's no like difficulty settings, which is the other thing, which got to a point where it's like if you hit a brick wall, and also some of the like where do you go is difficult at times too. So it was one of those things where it's like the barrier of entry sometimes was a little bit too much, but if you stuck with it, I think, but stepping away would be very hard. Interesting. Because when you talk about FOMO, Baldur's Gate 3 is my FOMO. It's I bought it on Steam, installed it, have not touched the game because I'm like, that's a game I'm fearful of because I'm typically on to. I've just heard the game is just so big. It's like 150 hours. Like you go 50 hours before you even get through like chapter 1, which is like, I don't think I can do that. But I'm excited for it. And I supported it. So I was like, can I just gift it to somebody? And I couldn't even return it. So hey, you know what? Thank you, developers. You got money for me. I'm cheap. So before we go to mine, I'm going to go to the Winter Gamer. So Brendan Myers, buddy, we're looking out for you. We know you're going through a tough time, but you know what? You've got Alarmo coming. So be excited for Alarmo and the many Alarm adventures.
I'll be seeing him at Extra Life too. I'll be seeing him at Extra Life. So
okay, Brendan, bring Alarmo with you. I think that's the only thing you can do is bring Alarmo with you.
Yes, bring Alarmo to an event where you stay up all night.
Yes. So you don't fall asleep.
You use Alarmo to stay awake.
Coins.
That's what. Yeah,
it won't allow you to go to sleep. You know what? Yep. All those fun things. But Brendan says, buy Fallen Order because it's such a great game and was even more fun to replay. Good point. Rent Control because it's on my backlog. So like you're stuck.
Another person that did not.
Gears. Oh, and then return Gears 5 because I haven't come close to wanting to replay it. That's interesting. So it's a return because he's beat it and doesn't have any reason.
He's beat it, doesn't have to any exactly.
Yeah,
that's really hard.
That's reasonable.
They're all good games. I'm only returning it because I'm done with it. I'm not going back to it. So replay value is. I think Gears might be the only one that has really real replay value, maybe because it's got multiplayer. The other ones
I would imagine so.
So Silvermine
is the type that wants to keep playing missions.
That's true. You just want to replay it. Maybe you need achievements or something like that. You want to,
or just something, or you want to approach it differently or something. I'm one of those ones who I replayed the hell out of like Ghost Recon Wildlands only because I killed off all the missions. I finished the whole game. I'm that guy that wanted to. Okay, how could I have approached this mission differently?
Sure. It's kind of like scum saving where it's like, I don't want to die this time. I want to do this differently. Or you go back and like, I'm not ready to finish the game yet. I'm going to save here before I move on and
exactly. And that's what I did. I completed every part of the game that I could, and then went ahead and tried to complete everything, get all the weapons, and beat that last boss.
I tried to do that with The Witcher, but when you realize you have to go back so far to change your fate, I'm like, that's a fool's errand. No, I'm not starting the game over because essentially that's what you have to do. So my choices are going to be a little bit flippity floppity. I am buying Control because I do love Remedy's games. I absolutely do. I love what they did. It's a little bit different. It feels kind of like an X-Files / larger universe with Alan Wake, which is really cool. And I do want to play the DLC. I own the DLC, and I'm going to give Remedy a big, actually, it's their publisher a big middle finger because I beat it on PS4, but I have the definitive edition. But I could play it on. I have the definitive edition on PS5 and PS4. But your save file for PS4 doesn't go to the PS5 version of the game. So to play the definitive edition on PS5 with all of the ray tracing and all the fun stuff, I'd have to start the game over. So I am just playing with better hardware, the PS4 version for the DLC, which includes an Alan Wake type of experience. So it's like,
that kind of stuff ticks me off so much. This generation.
Yeah. I mean, how hard is it? Because it's not like a new game. It's like, but I don't know. I'm not a developer, so maybe it's harder than I know. And thank you.
But so many other developers are doing, like with the,
Exactly.
especially like on the Xbox side of like, what's it called? Like the free upgrade thing. I know they have a name for it, but I can't remember it.
Yeah.
When you get the Series X version for it, and it's just like a patch. Like you get a PC patch, and
They used to call it the free grade or whatever they call the upgrade.
Yeah, right. But and then some developers are like, no, we're charging you extra for like the prettier version of it, and it's like, I guess that's your prerogative, but like, the kind of expectations just kind of set there from like, hey, no, it's like, here's like the PC prettier assets of this game, like, congratulations. So it rubs me the wrong way when they do that.
Yeah, I mean, I will definitely say the PS4 to PS5, all these different generations where cross-gen happened, and sometimes you'd paid a $10 upgrade, sometimes you did this, sometimes you didn't even get that, you had to pay for the whole new version. It's weird. I'm glad we're kind of out of that realm, but we'll see what Switch does, because I'm assuming they're going to do some really funky things. Mark, I heard some rumors about how they're going to treat Pokemon, and it is going to kill your wallet, but we'll go from there. So my game to rent would be Gears 5. I really enjoyed the game, but the Horde mode would keep me around to keep the game rented a little bit longer. Maybe rent it again to play the Horde mode. I'm not a multiplayer player by heart, but Horde mode is one of my favorite multiplayer versions, so I could rent it again or just reinstall it because I have Game Pass. So reinstall it maybe is another term, rent, reinstall. And then Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. It's a return just because there was really nothing to go back and do again, and I beat it, and I loved it. So nothing bad about it, but I have unfinished business with Control because I own the game and I have DLC to beat. So Jedi Fallen Order, I played mission and loved the sequel. So there we go.
Yeah, it's reasonable.
Yeah.
All right. Talk about what we've been playing. Lee, what you been gaming, man?
Okay, so I kind of already touched on this, and I'll come back around to it, but Vampire Survivors is one. I've been playing a lot of sports games lately. I don't know what it is. So between NCAA football, Madden, NBA 2K, NHL 24, MLB, the show, like I've been touching all of them. I can't just stick to one, but at the same time, I just want to keep playing all of them. Another game that's really captured my attention since the summer, and I've been wanting to play this game for forever. I finally decided to pull the trigger and buying it this summer, and it's been out since 2016, is Hearts of Iron 4, which is a sim. It's a grand strategy sim by Paradox, and it is based off of World War II. So... Yeah, so basically it's a grand strategy war game. You literally control every aspect of your nation, nation building, military building, planning, all of that. And I downloaded some mods for it that actually applies real the current events as they are today since 2000. So at one point I started the game as the United States. Mark, I'm sorry, I took over Canada.
Son of a...
It just needed to be done.
We have all of your maple resources, Mark.
I also ended up taking control of Mexico and all of Central America. So all the way to the Panama Canal. Yeah. And then I decided to control every country under the banner of NATO. And...
a peaceful takeover.
Yeah, exactly. It wasn't hostile; it was peaceful.
Sure.
And then I decided to create an alliance between what is now basically the United States of North America and Europe, and Japan and Australia, and South Korea in order to repel anything that China did to Taiwan.
Okay.
Wow. So you're like the Asian Rim of Fire.
Exactly.
This is China.
And I would be playing this game until, I don't know, shortly after midnight, 1 o'clock. And I would just leave the laptop on, put it off on the table to the side so that the next morning, as the simulation is going, I could see what happened overnight. Yeah, that was the type of thing that I did with it. I was going hardcore with it.
Nice.
So but really what's been dominating my gaming a lot, and this has been a consistent thing for the past year and a half now, maybe less than that, but definitely Vampire Survivors. I was just telling Mark that I got so suckered into it that I wanted to unlock every character, unlock every secret, unlock every weapon, and basically beat the game to the point where I unlocked one of the strongest characters in the game. And I did my thing where I would research how each active weapon would affect all the passive weapons. I did a min-maxing of everything like that. I ended up playing the game to where my character was fully leveled, had every possible weapon that she could possibly utilize in that run. And I left the game running, and it ended up the next morning on my phone. It was running all night long. I ended up with an 1100 plus level character. Oh, I sent you guys pictures.
Wait. How are you doing this? How do you just let it run? Is you have like something holding on the screen or something? Like the old, like you put a rubber band on your controller so you can...
You literally get to a point with your character where you can just have them
keep everything at bay?
And nothing will come through. Absolutely nothing will come through.
That's funny.
For those who haven't played the game, there's a feature called Arcanas. And Arcanas augment certain parts of the game for you. The one Arcana that I would get is one that basically grabs all the treasures in the map and brings it into a circle around you, so that all you have to do is just walk around and pick it up. Now,
it's crazy.
The next morning, because of this Arcana, my entire circle was literally all of the treasures, and I would have to walk around and grabbing each one and just be money after money after money because I'm so leveled up. Nothing was touching me. Nope, none of the well, there's not even really vampires. None of the creatures that were attacking could even get through to me. And basically, it got to the point, like I said, where I was hitting level 1100, 1200. I did this a few more times throughout the summer, actually. So, anyway, so long story short, it definitely became an obsession game. It was 100% an obsession game. Mm-hmm. Tried to understand as much of the game as possible. Downloaded the DLC, joined their Discord, all of it, just to know more about the game. And then I bought it on Steam a couple of weeks back, just to have it on Steam. And I learned that I could beta test the game on my phone. So I downloaded Test Flight from the App Store. I was able to get into the open beta, upload my save from my phone up to the cloud, so I could access my save on Steam. So that way I didn't have to restart the game all over again.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, but it's a ton of fun. It's something that if I'm in the middle of don't let my workplace hear this. If I'm in the middle of a meeting or something and I get bored, I'd pop drivers and just kind of do a run in the middle of it. But
can we tag your employers? Just let them get us some more followers. Yeah,
right. Pretty much. Yeah. But it's definitely, like I said, it's my obsession game for the past little while now. I can't get enough of it. I really can't. And like I said, I sent you guys some pictures in Discord.
They're amazing.
So you can see what my phone showed me on those.
It looks like just a ring of destruction and death.
Exactly that.
I even looked. Punkle is the developer. You can just play their game on the web for free if you want. Yeah. It's punkle.itch.io. You can play it there. And I was looking too. They had DLC that came out. It's funny that they have a Contra DLC versus Castlevania DLC, which makes no sense. It's like,
there's an Among Us DLC also.
So bizarre.
It's so bizarre, but it's so much fun. So much fun.
Konami's kicking themselves. They're like, yeah. I love it. This is what the whole thing about video games, Among Us, games like all these games that come out of the blue and just succeed. I'm a huge fan. I love that we have that.
I mean, we had what, Rocket League so many years ago being such a
Yep.
huge,
Yep.
and they just became so popular because
Fall Guys was another big one that became a huge thing among us. So there's always something new that is just gonna pop up and just take the world over by storm. So
exactly.
Hey, gotta love it. Right now, Steam Fest Next is having more demos out there. Holy crap, they have like 300 demos just popping right now. So there's something for everybody. Yep. So yeah, if you've got a Steam Deck, just find something you love. Well, very good, Lee. And I will just say this, NCAA football, I played that as well. My Spartans won the NCAA tournament. They were national champions. How did you fare?
National champions, 4-year starter for my Syracuse University Orange.
All right.
And, let's see, my first year, I remember I fought for that running back one position. And by my third year, I was finally the starter, won the Heisman my fourth year.
Broke his leg, got a sepsis infection. They cut it off. And now he's getting a degree in janitorial services. Sorry.
That's typical,
Exactly. Yeah. Get the NIL money for Taco John's or whatever the local chain of restaurants is in upstate New York.
My only complaint with that game is you didn't have the ability to create your own player for just exhibition style games, right? It was, you created your player in the road to glory, but aside from that, after 4 seasons, that's really it.
Yeah, I struggled finding a mode that worked for me. I wanted to play a mode that was completely offline. And so I had to go to the non-intuitive mode, which is that doesn't make any sense, but I still had a good time. I think you play for free for 10 hours on EA Play. So check out the game.
Yeah. And at that
All right,
point,
Mark.
you get your 10 hours in. You can beat You can beat in 10 hours.
Exactly. Yep. Mark, you're playing a weird game.
But before I get into any of my games, I finally completed a project. So this is my original EA SP. This is the original one. And this is my completed project for the RG35XX SP. I added the same kind of things to it. I had the same things on the inside. I haven't changed the buttons yet, but I'm so happy with how this turned out. It's so good. It looks so similar. And the fronts look pretty similar. Just super happy. Every time I look at it, I'm just that looks so much like my childhood GBA. So that's awesome.
There you go.
So I've been playing a bunch of stuff on that, but I have also, like Todd said, been playing some weird stuff. 2 of those games came through from Outright Games. So I did receive review codes for these. From these 2, Outright Games are awesome. They do a lot of family and kid focused games. I've talked about a bunch of their stuff before. These are 2 games that they just gave me the end of the week, so I'm very fresh on. The first one I'll talk about is Looney Tunes Wacky World of Sports. I was a big fan of Looney Tunes basketball on the Super Nintendo, so as soon as I saw this one, I was like, let's go. Let's see how this is. So this one combines 4 different sports. There's basketball, which was my first. As soon as I saw it, I was like, need it. Just basketball, Looney Tunes, let's go. But there's also golf, soccer.
It's not Space Jam, though, right?
Not Space Jam. No, it's just basketball. But so yeah, golf, soccer, tennis and basketball. So the four sports. Good roster of characters, voice acting, all the usual Looney Tunes fanfare that you would expect. Cool cel shaded kind of artwork. So far, it runs pretty well. I've played all of the sports. I did all the tutorials. I will say, compared to a focused sports game, it's definitely a jack of all trades, master of none kind of game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're getting that more of a Mario Party kind of feel of none of these are as polished as a full on Mario golf game or an actual like full on soccer game or something like that, right? Like,
is it kind of like an NBA Jam, or is it closer to like Wii Sports, like doing that kind of thing?
Probably closer to like NBA Jam or like, I mean,
Okay.
it's just like the, Looney Tunes basketball from back in the day. Like, it's pretty easy. There's, a few different like button combinations and moves that you can do. And there's like a high pass and a low pass and that kind of stuff. Very, very easy. And it might have been just because I think I was playing on easy mode anyway, but pretty easy to like dunk like just sink 3-pointers constantly. Because you basically just hold in the Y button until.
Do they say boom shakalaka?
Sadly, no.
Oh,
No, that's just disappointing.
I know.
Is that trademarked?
I love playing as Tasmanian Devil, and he does the same kind of thing that he did in Looney Tunes basketball. So the developers of this know their history from video games because he pops it in his mouth and shoots it out for a 3. And it's fantastic. I love it. So it's a cute kind of sports game. Like I said, don't expect anything too deep, but there is a very fun mode where you play through all of the sports in random order and on random fields and that kind of stuff, and like kind of accumulate different points throughout it. And Bugs and I had a real good competition going on where he did a little bit better on a couple of sports. I did like he got me by 1 stroke in golf. And I was really pissed off, but I ended up kind of like falling, I think, a point behind him. And then I came out tennis in the end. I won and ended up winning the trophy. So that was big.
Is it only local multiplayer or is it online too? Or is there even local multiplayer?
No, there's local multiplayer. I don't think there's online. I will have to double check that one for you because I've basically just played the championship modes and then like the sports by themselves with the tutorial and that kind of stuff. So I will keep playing and get back to you. The other game that I have not really been playing, but I've been observing Finn play is Nick Jr. Party Adventure.
Isn't it great to have a kid that like covers for you and you play the game that you want to?
So yeah, this was high on my list. So this game, it's kind of like a Captain Toad treasure tracker for kids. Your character auto walks and you have maybe 1 or 2 buttons or things that you have to do. Like one is just when you move the control stick, a bridge goes up and down. When you press B, something moves and it like moves a waterfall out of the way. So you're basically moving traps and solving little tiny puzzles for your characters to get through. There's like no death when you get knocked off a waterfall or die or whatever. You just
thank God there's no death. I mean, like you can explain to your kid why Dora is like, oh, Dora didn't make it. Sorry.
It's very, very kid friendly. Finn's been having a blast because there's different worlds. None of them overstay their welcome. So you start off with like Dora the Explorer. You move on to Blue's Clues. You get Blaze and the Monster Machines. You get the Paw Patrol. All those kind of like Santiago and the Pirates, I think, or something like that. So all of these shows that he knows, he loves, all this kind of stuff. Like they're all there. They're all voice acted. I don't know if they're all the original voice cast and that kind of stuff, but like he's loving it.
I thought you were a true fan, Mark. You should know this.
Look up the IMDb
exactly
the credits or whatever. So I think because Finn's been playing through this, I think we're gonna do like a special little thing of recording something. Either like put it out on Patreon first, probably. Throw it up on YouTube. I want to get him kind of talking about his experience with the game because while he was playing, I had the controller number 2 and I just kept mashing the screen record button on Switch. Just because it's cool to watch him like play games and solve puzzles and stuff. I think it's kind of cute. So expect that one coming up pretty soon. I will also say both of those games are on Switch. The third game, speaking of our anniversaries and 150 episodes, this game was announced and I purchased it before we started this podcast, a year before we started this podcast. And that is Hatch Tales, the artist formerly known as Chicken Wiggle. This project launched in March of 2018. It is finally out for backers. I can't actually talk about the show or the game for some reason on this show because there's like a content creator, reviewer, kind of like whatever limitation. I don't know. The game's out in the wild for backers, but there's
What?
yeah. I don't.
That makes no sense.
I know.
You paid for it. You paid for the game. You didn't get a free code, Mark.
I know. It's so weird. I genuinely don't know how to explain that one. So I don't know what I can and can't talk about with that.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Was it worth the wait?
You know what? So far, I'll just say that it's good. Like it's good.
Okay.
So the email from the Kickstarter thing says if you're a press influencer, the review embargo date is October 21st. So expect me to talk about this more on the next episode.
Sure.
Weird stipulation, Jules. If you're listening, if you end up listening to this or something or whatever,
It's an odd choice.
I don't know. It's a weird choice because
this game needs a lot of positive feedback because there's a bitter taste in a lot of people's mouths that have been waiting for this game for 5 years. Yeah,
like you said, I paid for this. It's not like I'm getting a free review code of this and I can't talk about it. Like I own this game. I paid for this game 6 years ago. If I want to say that so far it's good. It's really good. I'm enjoying solving the puzzles. Like, I don't know if I can say that or not, whatever. Anyway,
that's the bad part. We don't know what we can say about a game you own, have played it.
Yeah, that's horseshit. So Jules, if you're listening to this, I don't know, whatever, man. Come at me. Because so I'm enjoying it so far. I'll say that much. It's good. I don't know. Is it like worth a 6-year wait? Is anything? I don't know. But like it's solid. It's really good. It's polished. It looks and sounds really good. The Grant Kirkhope soundtrack. No surprise there.
Oh, I forgot he did that.
So good. You know, he is awesome in everything. So yeah, I mean, I look forward to talking more about it after the 21st, I guess. But right now, like,
Mark, if you still have an in with Jules,
I'll text him.
We'd love to have him on the show.
I'll text him, man. I'll reach out.
In a very open discussion, because obviously Bobby Pauls, who the three of us are, good friends, and we miss the guy dearly, and he was a huge part of Jules' team and all that stuff. So, I think that Jules could use some positive, press. And if you made a good game, let's share it.
I think so. Like, I mean, I was the person that called Jules when Bobby died. I was the one that had that conversation. We ended up doing a face, video call just because we wanted to have more of a personal thing when that happened. And Jules is such an interesting guy, man. It's and shit happened with this game, but I think he wanted this to be like really well polished and just the best game it could be. And I think he kind of kept adding to it and digging in more a little bit. And it is what it is, right? Like sometimes projects just end up different and whatever, shit happens, life happens, a pandemic happened, shit, like but so far I will tell you that I'm happy with what I've played so far. Maybe
it's good. And there's a story for every game to be told. And I know some people are frustrated, some people are angry, but it's like, what's the best way you can do to win people back is just let them in and let them know the journey. And they can decide then if it's a good or bad. But, if you end up being like kind of like non-communicative, people form their own opinion, and then it just basically you create a backlash. So it's better to be open and caring and sharing.
Yeah,
is the best thing.
Yeah. So that's it. So if you're if you're using a different email and you kickstarted this thing a while ago, like make sure you're checking your junk. Make sure you're still using the same email that you did 6 years ago, because like the game's out. It's there. It's there for backers. And yeah, I'd love to talk to Jules sometime. So I will reach out. I'll see what's up.
Yeah. We're very open to talking to people about the process of making games, what can go right, what can go wrong. And, things have been crazy since 2019 in the last 5 years. Like we talked about, things change. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So myself, still kind of a mixed bag for gaming for me. I'm kind of like waiting for that game to just grab onto me, which has been hard to do. I've been trying a lot of games, which is still fun. Silent Hill 2, this is the remake of the PlayStation 2 game, came out from Bloober Teams, getting good reviews. I don't have any nostalgia for the series. I remember playing the first game on the PlayStation 1, got stuck and never went back to it. I remember it was creepy. It was really cloudy. You had a radio that clued you in when ghost pterodactyls were going to kill you. And and then the other games have come out. I've seen the movie and I'm like, well, let me give this game a try. This game is a love letter to the first game, to the game. So it's beautiful, but a lot of the gameplay and story elements are still the same. They've updated the models, updated the voice acting. It's very good. But I still feel like I'm in a world of the combat's clunky. The basically the mission-based fetch quest is still very much a part of it. The fog is used well, but it's not a limitation anymore, but they still are using it. And it's essentially about a guy who wakes up in a town called Silent Hills. He's looking for someone who has died, but has now suddenly reached out to him to visit him in the town of Silent Hill. So if you've heard this plot in a horror film, not to go to Silent Hill because bad things will happen. And it's a ploy of demons and things. So you start off in this game, you go into Silent Hill. It's very, very foggy. You're looking around and eventually you find clues that lead you to unlocking different parts of the town. You find these creatures that want to attack you, but you're fighting them with a club with nails in it. Yeah. I got about 3 hours in the game and I'm like, I see what they're doing. It's quality. But because of the lack of nostalgia and just the fact that I feel like this is a very dated game, didn't catch me. Unlike the Resident Evil remakes, where I feel like it feels like a modern game, that the mechanics are amazing. And I love it. And I've loved those games. So it's a mixed bag for me. I got it from GameFly, so I didn't spend $60 or $70 on it. So I don't have any fear. And Lee, you talked about this. I have limited game time. Finding the fun. I'm not actively trying to force the fun. I'm finding the fun. If the fun doesn't keep me around, I'm moving on. Life's too short. If developers want to catch me, then they need to tell me their story very quickly and get me in. So after 3 hours, I'm like, nope, I cannot find the coin to open up the jukebox to get the record to play that does something else that will lead me to another fetch quest. That's exactly what my quest was. Get the record to play in the jukebox with the quarter that I can't find. So I have to go down the road and it's spooky and my radio's playing. So there you go. So yeah, that's a return. Space Marine 2, went back to that game. It's a lot of fun. It is not a spooky season game, but it's very good. So I can keep going back to this game. I just love the Gears-like gameplay, the over-the-top narrative of these weird space marines that have this weird religion with like technology that is kind of like human based, but it's not. It's very weird, but it's fun. I like the environment. I like the art style, and the graphics are beautiful. Playing on PC, wonderful. Sharing it through my Steam library with Sean Nias, so it's great. It's great to have the Steam library sharing, which is an amazing feature that I hope more ecosystems offer. But I'm really enjoying that game, so I'm continuing to play through that. Echoes of Memory, played a little bit more when I was at the oil change place to get my oil changed. I got more beds. I've got I've got a lot more echoes I've captured, but the gameplay is really slow, a little deliberate, and it's opened up to more people to talk to, and it's a little more open world than like Link's Awakening is, and I'm not sure if I'm there for it. A lot of the complaints I've heard about this game is you get the echoes of like the different creatures you connect to do the combat, and it's very slow. It's like, okay, and then I've got to select them. I even got the Link attack, so I'm like, I think I know where this is going, and it's just a lot of people have, like it's a lot of people are very positive of the direction this game is going. The execution is, I feel like, lacking into keeping people around. So for me, it feels like a game that I probably will not stick with. I don't know, Mark, did you play more?
I've played a minimal amount more of this game, but I need to get back into it because I was happy with the direction it's been going. But I've been playing, aside from this weekend, I've been playing a lot more like the retro game stuff. So it's Looney Tunes and Hatch Tales, and then I got back into Star Wars Hunters, and so now I need I'm in a bit of a switch. Like, oh right, that thing is there. So I'll get back to it.
Yeah, I think the game I'm really waiting for is Dragon Age, Dragon Veil, or Veil Light, Veil Force, whatever it's called. I'm very excited for that. I'm going to get that from Gamefly. It's already been locked. They're going to send it to me, so I'm very excited for that. I've been looking for a very good RPG, like a Western RPG, and BioWare, I haven't played one in a long time. I think the last game they had that released was Mass Effect Andromeda, and that was a fun game, but it wasn't obviously Mass Effect. And then Anthem was before that, and it was kind of a miss for a lot of people. So I'm hoping this game is what gets them back on track. Yeah. So I'm excited for it. The previews have been fantastic.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited for this game. Dragon Age is one of those series that I'm always on the periphery of. I play a little bit, and then I drop off, but I'm hoping this is the one that gets me because they've been planning this one a long time. So I am it. I'm going to be a dwarf. I'm a dwarf in real life, so I want to play a dwarf in an RPG. And then lastly, Dead by Daylight. I'm looking to play this game with other people. I played this game with randos. This is the game where it's free to play on Game Pass. I think it's free to play elsewhere, or you can play it. But basically, it's 4v1 monsters. They brought in lots of IP with Ash and Screamface and all these other guys. And basically, the 4 survivors have to get these generators to go so they can go through the world. It's co-op. It's very fun. So I went through the tutorial because it's been a while since I played. I'm like, I don't remember how to play this game, and I couldn't figure out how to open up the generators. I'm like, what am I doing wrong? And was my controller not working? And then I realized, oh, you just need to put the LB button when you're ready to go, because it gives you that Gears of War, like that space that basically, if you hit it just right, you don't alert the bad guy to get the generators going. You have to get 5 generators going. And it wouldn't work. So I'm like, what the hell's wrong? Is my controller broken? I'm like, nope, just missed that part. So it was a dumb Todd move. I'd look at videos and eventually it worked. So, but yeah, I'm excited to play with others. So if anybody wants to play Dead by Daylight with me, I'm going to be on, I think it's cross play. So let me know. I'm on Xbox. We'll talk about where you can find us at the end of the show, but it's a fun game. It's just, I'm in spooky season. I'm probably going to get into Redfall finally, the game that no one loves. But that's where I've been playing.
I'm intrigued by that too. Redfall.
Yeah, it's there.
It's there to pique your interest, but
yeah. I'm very curious. Well, that is what we've been playing. But before we move on to the bonus round, please listen to this ad. Hey, Secret Friends Unite! Let me tell you about Zencastr. We use them for our show, and now they're supporting us. Zencastr is now the all-in-one solution making podcasting easy. It's the ultimate web-based podcasting solution. Provides high-quality audio and video podcast production and hosting. With a full suite of professional tools, podcasters can seamlessly record, produce, and publish studio-quality content, all from one dashboard. Being a creator has never been easier. And we chose Zencastr because of the ease of use, high quality output, and it makes it super easy for our guests to come on. We had multiple solutions we tried before, and Zencastr has just been the best fit for us. Why Zencastr? It's now super easy to record a podcast with Zencastr. Log in using your browser and start recording a high-quality podcast right away. Record studio-quality sounds and up to 4K video with your guests. Feel a sense of zen knowing Zencastr's multi-layered backups ensure you always have your recordings in the highest quality, even if the connection is unstable. Have you ever worried what you sound like? Zencastr's post-production process makes you sound buttery smooth. It automatically removes those ums and ahs in your recording. It removes those awkward pauses in conversation too. Set the right podcast loudness and levels while reducing background noise with the click of a button. So if you're interested in making an easy, high-quality podcast just with the click of a browser button, go to zencastr.com/pricing and use my code SFU1. You'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. I want you to have the same easy experiences I do for all my podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. Now back to the show. All right, it's time for the bonus round. The bonus round topic this year, gents, is we have been looking back 5 years. Now we're looking ahead 5 years. It's scary because now we're almost in the year like 2030. And a lot of us never thought 2030 would ever happen. It's like science fiction. It's Blade Runner, flying cars. Elon Musk is going to give us robotaxis, which are actually just robots, people in robot disguises that are not really robots. Yeah. And if you watch the Upload, have you guys seen Upload?
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Remember what killed the guy in Upload? The robotaxi.
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah. The world is going to be an interesting place in 5 years. That's where I want us to be prognosticators. I want us to be Nostradamus or a Nostradamus. Maybe that's what we can be as we figure this out. So what will happen in the world of video gaming by the year 2029? So I want one trend. I want one prediction with PlayStation, one prediction for Xbox, one for Nintendo, and one for Valve/Steam. So, gentlemen, what will we see in the year 2029? Lee, give me a trend.
Oh. For any of them, or
No, any trend in gaming. It's like just open. So you can be a trend in gaming. Yeah.
I really do believe that the usage of AI, which is already prevalent today in so many different aspects of, I guess, creation, you're going to see it be really utilized in gaming over the course of the next few years. Take, for example, I'll speak to something that I feel like I have a good idea on, and that's PC gaming. I feel like over the course of the next few years, maybe the next couple of generations in graphic cards, NVIDIA is going to do something with AI as far as optimization and understanding what to anticipate next for the frames, for the scenes in games. And I think that's going to be a really big deal when it comes to this medium that we all love so much.
Yeah.
AI. My company is embracing AI right now. It's interesting ways they do it. It's definitely interesting because it became like the next trend, and a lot of people are putting a lot of money into it. I remember it was like NFTs, it was Bitcoin, and now AI. People have got to have a reason to believe why it's going to be helpful to them versus just a threat to them. So I'm hoping developers can do that because it's interesting because it's very scary too.
And as an overall topic too, actually, funny enough, my wife works for an AI, a tech AI company in the healthcare industry, and it is a tremendous aspect of the healthcare industry now that they're really they're finding ways to help people better. So, right there, that innovation at my company, even we're just at the outside of AI, looking into an enterprise resource planner that anticipates needs for the company as far as our products, and we can use that data to anticipate what our sales forecast will look like. So, it's such a for us as a company, it's in its infancy because it's a 100-year-old manufacturing company. So for the longest time, the company didn't embrace that type of thing. But when I came on board and I said, I wanted to move the company forward a little bit and see where it stands. And surely enough, this is the time where AI is going to be, we're going to see a certain period of innovation, I have a feeling, driven by the possibilities of virtual reality as a whole in conjunction with AI. So, there's definitely positive aspects to it, but at the same token, too, yeah, there could also be negative aspects. Loss of jobs for one. Um, you know, the content creators will just slowly start ceasing to exist.
I don't want AIs to be programmed to be like personalities, and they're not even doing their job anymore because the AI is just the AI is now doing the job of the personalities. I don't want that. I do not want that. No,
like I said,
no, it's gross.
There's a lot of positive. There's a lot of negative that can be associated with. But in the overall, I'm the type who I'm an optimist in that regard, and I have a feeling that this is one of those concepts that can produce something very dynamic for our gaming space. Imagine a horror game that doesn't have a linear scenario, if you will, and it generates it based on that player's particular fears.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That would be wild.
Yeah, so. I mean, video games have always been about artificial intelligence. Anyways, we talked about the AI of if you have somebody that can make better AI of how the enemies react and things like that, that's a good thing. We just don't want the AI to be like, oh, they're going to do the creative now. You manage the grunt work. We want it's the other way. We want AI to do the stuff that humans don't want to do so they can focus on the creative. We've always said, we want you to cure cancer. We don't want you to replace doctors, really. We want you to do the grunt work so the people can be creative. Sure. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So, Mark, hopefully you're not going to talk about our AI overlords. You're going to give us a different trend.
Lee, you touched on something there, though, that I do want to kind of spin off of. You mentioned VR. And I think VR is just going to grow, but I also think in 5 years, we're really going to see AR starting to touch a mainstream. We saw Project Orion at the Meta showcase or whatever the hell they did a couple of weeks ago. And that technology is super interesting. I think one of the best uses of AR or AI right now are the Meta Ray-Ban glasses. Seems like something you can just always have on your face. It's very useful. It's growing seemingly pretty like steadily with what it can do. And, it can read something and translate it for you. You can say, call that number, and it'll call a number for you just straight away with the speakers and the glasses and that kind of stuff. So that's seemingly a great platform for AI, definitely better than the AI pins or any of those failed products that we've seen so far. And I think, I think Zuckerberg has a pretty high motivation to get AR into that space as well with, Project Orion, I think is leaps and bounds. You see something like Apple Vision Pro, that's still like a very clunky, very expensive headset. And he's just like, you know what? Yeah, we see what you're doing. And we have the Quest 3 and the Quest 3S and all that kind of stuff. You want affordable, you want this, that, whatever. But here's kind of our end game. Here's what we want. Here's these AR glasses that look, even now in like a testing proof of concept project kind of thing, it's like they kind of look real glasses-esque. They're chunky and clunky.
Ray-Bans. You need somebody to create something that looks more like fashion versus
and they just
function.
Extended their partnership with Ray-Bans too. Yeah. So we're eventually, I think 5 to 10 years, we're seeing Ray-Ban Meta glasses that actually can project things into the real world. And then, gaming will follow that. So aside from AI, I think VR is just going to continue to rise in popularity, but it's going to take off when you get AR and you can actually just have like a quick little game of Pong in the air in your kitchen with someone else that is wearing those glasses.
Hey,
I think that's going to,
seniors want to play pickleball anywhere, anytime, Mark.
That's it.
Lee.
That's it.
If you can play pickleball with AR glasses with your neighbors across the hall to stay fit, that's what we're looking for.
That's what you want.
Give me Vampire Survivors in AR.
Oh God, you'd have a stroke. You'd be like, is it real? It's like a horror film at that point, right? Coming over there, I can't kill him. And then you hit your kid, and it's just bad. You step on your dog. We know how this goes, Lee. Come on, we've been there.
Maybe they deserved it. Yeah.
That good Father of the Year. Yeah, they deserved it. It's on my tombstone. They deserved it. Not me.
So I think that's going to be a trend.
And that's what your parents. That's what.
That stuff.
More arrests for VR crimes. Is that, Mark? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's exactly what I was trying to
there we go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Perfect. Glad to see we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I see the Black Mirror side of things. I swear it was a ghost. It was a ghost. They were going to kill me.
Yeah.
Sir. Take off the glasses.
What about you, Todd? What are you feeling trend-wise?
I think we're going to see the walls of the walled gardens start to decline. And we're going to see basically there's going to be an interesting way of basically, does it really matter where your games are? Because I feel like that is becoming a thing of the past, and it's going to be driven by not our generation. It's going to be the younger generation, because now they're trained globally that why can't I play anything in the device I have? Why do I have to buy a specific set of hardware? It's kind of like the old days. Why would I need a specific DVD player to watch a movie? It doesn't matter. I want to play a version of the game, and I'm okay with an okay version of it. Doesn't have to be high end, can be low end. And even Nintendo, I think, is going to struggle with that, because a lot of people will be like, not everybody's dad's going to be the one that played Nintendo growing up, because we're going to get a growing age of nostalgia where Nintendo wasn't very popular. Because let's be honest, after the N64 was fine, but it was a niche system. It was not many people. So you get to a certain age, and it's like, well, where does Mario hit? And well, God, if mom and dad don't buy a $300 Switch 2 or a $400, am I really going to buy a Switch 2? I'm just going to play wherever. So it becomes like, and Nintendo can't get beyond that. And Nintendo's at about 150 with the Switch, 150 million. But there are 8 billion people in the world that are not, there's basically almost 8 billion people in the world that are not playing on Switch. So it becomes like nobody is immune to this. And Nintendo will have to say, we're going to bring experience regardless of the devices you have. And maybe they say, we're going to bring peripherals along with our games. So that's where we bring our perspective. So our peripherals will work with your desktop, your mobile phone, your AR, VR, and things like that. And they will make it's a Nintendo shop maybe within the device you have, so they can still control the experience. And I think with Nintendo, and we've seen that with PlayStation games coming to Switch, we see MLB The Show coming to Xbox, we see Xbox games coming to Switch and PlayStation. And it just feels like at this point, everybody's trying to fight back, but at this point, it's a losing game, because Xbox, Nintendo, and Switch fighting over 300 million people is just a drop in the bucket. So how do you get to more people, give good experiences where the device in their hand is, at a certain point when you buy a $1,000 smartphone, can do everything a console should be able to do at a level that is okay. So I don't know. That's what I feel like. I feel like we're just going to see the consoles as we know it not be essential, but it'll still be a niche thing that, as it is now, 300 million versus 8 billion people is niche. So we just got to get beyond ourselves and go from there. Because my son is playing on his high-end PC, Minecraft. He doesn't have an Xbox anymore. He doesn't have a Switch anymore. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, we're going to go really quick into what will happen by 2029 to PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, and Valve. So Lee, we'll go back to you. PlayStation, 2029. Give me something that's going to happen.
PS whatever version at that point will be $1,000.
Okay. They're premium. They're a premium console at that point. A premium
version. Yes, they're going to follow the Apple model
console offering.
Yeah. They're going to follow that Apple model of, there's your base, there's your Pro model. That's not just with Sony. I'm not knocking them at all for it, because, take for example networking equipment. My enterprise router at work that I use, there's a Pro version and then there's a home version for it. Same thing with other equipment like that. Is it okay is it acceptable? I guess you're going to have people who pay that premium price. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, I don't have a premium iPhone. I got the iPhone 16 Pro Max. But that's because I traded my 13 Pro Max in and I got a deal on it. So, but PlayStation is going to follow the same suit, because they are right now that premier gaming console that is the standard bearer of our industry. And you're going to see at one point that price number will hit $1,000.
It's like the Neo Geo all over again.
Yeah. And this
or the 3DO, Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? The 3DO that was $600 in 1994 monies.
Yep.
All right, Mark, PlayStation, what's going on?
You know what? Same kind of deal. I think PlayStation 6 Pro is maybe rumored at that point because, we're thinking 5 years down the line, like PlayStation 6 is probably already out. And there's rumors of PlayStation Pro 6, which I think will hit that $1,000 plus mark.
Pro 6 or just 6?
Or PlayStation 6 Pro. I think the 6 will be out in 5 years.
Because 6 is supposed to be up by 2028. That's what I'm hearing. Yeah. So we're 1 year beyond that.
Yeah, so we'll start
because PlayStation
already like a year after.
PlayStation 4 5 Pro came out 4 years after, so a little delayed. So I don't know, a year in. You really think we're going to hear?
I'm saying
already rumors.
We're hearing rumors. We're not. It's not out yet, but like people are already starting to talk about it. And the PlayStation 6, not quite $1,000, but like PlayStation 6 Pro, that's going to be the pricey sucker. And they have just announced The Last of Us Remastered HD Remastered Director's Cut Edition Remastered is.
You had to go there. Go there.
I did. Yep.
See, I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it LOT
edition.
Right.
TLOU. I'm gonna come up with an acronym. TLOU RR Remaster Remake HD.
It would be 16K at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. 8K. Okay. That's what we got. TLOURR HD 8K. Is that sufficient, Mark?
I think that's pretty good
for your purposes.
Yep.
Okay. Cool. Okay. I'm with Sony. I'm feeling like after the 30th anniversary PlayStation celebration and all of the fervor over that, they're going to lean into the nostalgia for PlayStation now because it's true. People are loving it. So we're going to get into the PS2 nostalgia of that. And we're going to see definitely all hyped in for PlayStation 2, like that, all the horrible things of PlayStation 2 that people didn't love, they loved, and how it looked. I think we're going to really lean into that. And I think we're finally going to see a celebration of a lot of the PS2 era games finally get revisited. So we're going to see Ratchet and Clank. Yep. We're going to see maybe more games from there. We're going to see Jack and Daxter, Sly Cooper, and some other games too, trying to think of the other big games that were part of PS2, Twisted Metal, Black, maybe. So I think we're going to see a resurgent of those games because I think they can, just like Nintendo, I think they can really go into their nostalgia.
Yeah, I think Astro Bot has proved that there's a kind of fervor for that. So
yeah,
they'll capitalize on it.
Yeah, because as of right now, I don't know what the market's going to go with PlayStation, but they're a bad spot. But I think they can lean into nostalgia and charge a lot of money for that nostalgia. Gents, I got to pause right now. My dog is going hot crazy. I don't know what he's doing. I'll be back in a sec. All right, we move to Xbox. Lee, where are we going with Xbox?
So I'm not even sure if Xbox will be making any kind of moves in the industry to even try to surpass PlayStation in terms of hardware market share. At this rate, both Mark and I think, we were just kind of discussing this a few moments ago, that we're looking at an Xbox gaming that is more in line with being a streaming service, and providing, the minimum hardware required to make that happen. Kind of like an Apple TV type of device, I have a feeling.
Yep.
How Apple TV has the Apple Arcade be a part of it. Well, then we're looking at definitely something along the lines of a smaller box like that being the norm with Xbox, which is a shame.
I don't even know if they're going to, in all honesty, why not just put the Xbox app on Apple TV, on Roku devices, on whatever, right? Like it's already
on
there.
my LG TV.
Right? Like
I've got GeForce Now on my LG TV. Well, I don't have
Well,
Xbox.
The funny thing is, okay, so last summer in Cape Cod, we rented a house through Verbo. This has one of those Samsung frame TVs,
Yep.
and that has a built-in Xbox app.
Yeah.
All I had to do was connect by Bluetooth my controller. I was able to log in and do cloud gaming.
Yeah. Same with my parents' new Samsung TV. Just built right in. Add a controller, you're good.
So,
Yeah. My LG TV had Stadia built in. And I was playing that. It has GeForce Now built in, but I'm not sure why LG is like not playing with Xbox or vice versa. But it's a solid TV or Roku, which is the most popular streaming device right now. And they have high-end streaming devices if you want an Ultra. So it's just very weird that they are not playing nice with some players, or maybe it's too expensive. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? There might be some contractual issues that they need to kind of iron out, or haven't really decided to discuss it, and they're just kind of biding their time, really. But that's where I see Xbox is really becoming less of a player in the premium hardware space, and it kind of reminds me really of like in the PC space how Nvidia is the primary GPU maker now, and they're pretty much owning the market, versus AMD, who has decided they're not going to even try to compete with a high-end GPU market, and they're just going to play in the lower end or the middle end, or the middle tier, I should say.
Or play in the console space with Sony and Xbox.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, Marky Mark, Xbox.
I have a similar but different enough take. I think Xbox at that point will be moved to a more Game Pass / streaming first platform. I think they want it. We've talked about this a few times. I think they want it on Amazon Fire Sticks. They want it on Roku devices and this and that and whatever. So I think they're just going to try to put that everywhere they can. And maybe they have their own little streaming device. Maybe they don't. I still do think, similarly to like a Surface computer, Surface tablet, whatever, they will still have their own like top end powerful hardware, at least in 5 years. I think they'll still be pushing that. You talk to me about 10, 15 years out, maybe that's a different tune, but I don't think they're going to be giving up pushing out super powerful hardware in the next 5 years. I think, they'll still have the most powerful console ever made in 5 years, or like they'll be trying to still compete on that level, but we'll still have the majority of their focus being like, you can play anywhere on any device. You have a phone, cool, you're an Xbox gamer. You have a TV, cool, you're an Xbox gamer. Like you have whatever, glasses, cool, you're an Xbox gamer. Like they're just going to keep pushing that everywhere. And in 5 years, the new Halo game might almost be ready.
They're using Unreal Engine now, so why not? And it can be everywhere too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Mark, it takes a long time to develop that Master Chief butt technology.
You got to get that.
Only Unreal Engine can develop that.
And a new engine, it's going to take a little while to.
You got to use AI to imagine that.
Sculpt that butt.
Don't you love it that we're going to get like a sex game in Halo, like the old God of War games? I love it. Love it.
Had to bring that up.
Got it.
What are your Xbox predictions, Todd?
Henry, how do you like that? Speaking to the Nias family. Oh, well, he's going to grow up sometime. Moving to myself. Uncle Todd, why is he so rude? I'm urging those discussions with Sean early in life.
I feel like I bring out the worst of this show.
You know what? We're going to the Niases for Thanksgiving. It's going to be a very awkward discussion with his wife. Sorry, Rachel. We'll see how this goes. But I think Xbox is going to basically deliver something that has been lacking, that they've taken note and they need to really bring back, and that is the handheld PC space. Valve came in strong. MSI, ROG. Trying to think who else is doing that. Lenovo Go, yeah. I mean, so there's a bunch of folks who have gone over that or after that marketplace, And sometimes you get a Steam OS on that device. Sometimes you get Windows 11. And it feels like Xbox, I don't know what it is, why they struggle so much by getting Windows to be a viable mobile platform or something like that. They've struggled with service devices are fine, but still, once again, a Windows marketplace. And those devices that use Windows, like the ROG Ally, people are like, well, it's not great because you're still using the Windows interface on a small screen. Like the actual keyboard comes up, the virtual keyboard comes up, and it's just, they're not ready for prime time like Steam OS is and Big Picture Mode was, where they made basically a console-like interface. So I think this is Microsoft's time to really play with Xbox and deliver a mobile gaming OS version of Windows, or at least an overlay. Bring it to a Surface-like device that can also be with controls, but dockable. And that is where they'll play in the hardware space. Like $500, that's where they play. It's a dockable, on the go, dockable. Maybe it gets a little bit more power, so it actually can run at a higher frame rate on the TV, can do 1080p, whatever's good enough. And then they relinquish the high-end gaming to PC, because they've got a Game Pass app on PC. They're like, if you want to go high end, you get that. But if you want something on the go, less complicated, plug and play, here's our device that is essentially doing what Switch does, but quite honestly, has all the games, has PlayStation games on it, has all of these things. Maybe they even open up to other game stores like Epic, because you see now that Xbox is trying to get on Android. Microsoft's trying to get an Android. They're trying to get an Apple. So maybe they're saying, hey, we'll basically put other stores like GOG or Steam or Epic, whatever, on our devices, Amazon, even Prime. So I think that's where they're going to play and allow their games to be everywhere, because I don't think they find a value of people aren't buying our devices anyways just for our games. They want our value, they want our games, and they want our services, but they want to play on a device they already have. So that's fine. And they allow PC gaming to be the high end. And that takes a lot of the pressure off them, just to make good games, put them everywhere, and then have a device where you can still play, but they're fine with not being the market leader.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I see them go.
Yeah, that's valid.
Yeah. Nintendo.
Yeah.
Everybody's conundrum. Who would have thought we didn't get a Switch 2 by now? So, Lee, what are we doing with Switch or Nintendo?
Nintendo will Nintendo. Nintendo will stick to what is comfortable. They will stick to what is, I don't want to say easy, but what works for Nintendo.
I thought you were just going to say time. Nintendo will Nintendo and just leave it at that, because you could have.
I could have. All those things that I said about Nintendo.
It's a cereal. I think they're just going to turn into a food company. I just think that's where they're going.
Honestly, they're just going to do what's easy. Well, I don't want to say easy, because that's kind of like me saying what they do is inconsequential or whatever. But I really do think Nintendo will just do what they are familiar with, which I personally think would be a mistake on their part, because, as the saying goes, familiarity breeds complacency. And at one point, they may not recognize it quick enough and may not know what they need to do after the fact. I was hoping that the original Switch, with their partnership with NVIDIA for the chip in the Switch 1, would kind of give them an opportunity to really see what they can do with the Switch 2 with NVIDIA's property. The point is, we haven't heard anything about Switch 2. There's nothing out there that says it's. We keep seeing, these directs are happening. People keep surmising, no, we're finally going to hear about the Switch 2. What makes you think that at this point?
Lee, we got an Alarmo. We got an Alarmo coming. Yeah. Lee, we've got an Alarmo. Okay. What more do you need? Come on, be respectful of Nintendo. They gave us Alarmo.
Okay, all right, I'll give them that, I guess. But I don't know. Like I said, it's the most unpredictable scenario. Nintendo will Nintendo, whatever that means for them. That is Nintendo.
Yep. Yeah. That's essentially it. Nintendo's got an
Hey, Mark.
For mine, mine is again very similar. We're getting the Switch 2 announced, probably released within the next calendar year. I think 5 years down the road, we'll see a Switch 2 OLED edition, because rumor is that the Switch 2 is going to be LED for the first batch. So I think that's going to be it, right? Like, it's going to be these predictable kind of hardware things. They'll keep wowing us with software and games, but hardware wise, that'll be kind of it. And I think they'll announce 5 years time. I think Alarmo will have outsold the Wii U.
Oh, Alarmo. Will it work so do the cameras work outside to your toilet though? That's one thing we always complain about. Can Alarmo work on your toilet? That's really the question.
Yeah. They'll yes, Alarmo will be in different rooms of your house. There'll be Alarmo and Toileto, Frigio,
Watcho, Blendo.
It will take over all the smart devices in your house. That'll be
exactly.
Nintendo will make a phone called Phono.
I will buy that 100.
It's kind of like FOMO.
Yeah,
quite honestly. Yeah,
the FOMO
because people are falling.
It's a red LED phone with.
It's like a jitterbug. You know the jitterbug where you give your senior citizen parents, where it's got 5 buttons. It's like call grandparents, call police, call coroner, call phone 911.
Yep, that is it.
It'll have a chip from 2017. They'll call Apple up and ask for old chips that they don't need anymore.
Be manufactured.
What's that iPhone SE doing these days? It's powering my wife's current iPhone, which she has the iPhone SE Generation 2, which is just the smallest phone in the world, which I love. Very good, Mark. So you're as positive as Lee is. But real talk, Mark. Did you get an Alarmo?
No.
Okay. All right. And Lee can probably just go down to the Nintendo store in New York and get one if he wants one. So we'll see. It's a gift that keeps on giving. Myself, I think Nintendo is going to play around in a space that I think will be really interesting, because I think what the Switch 2 is going to deliver is play with AR, which is very popular right now. Yeah. The 3DS had AR, but they didn't bring it back with the Switch. There's no camera. So I think they're going to play around with AR. And I think they're also going to play with the dual screen concept. But they're going to play around with the fact that there are 145 million Switches, and they're going to say, bring your Switch to the party. That's an extra controller. So we can relive the Wii U with your Switch as a controller. The Switch 2 is docked and can be amazing, can do these amazing graphics, but you can use your Switch 1 as another controller, whether it's Switch Lite or whatever, as something that brings to the party. So it's almost like bringing a party-based idea to gaming that's local, which I think is lacking everywhere else. Where else can you play party games locally with PC? Because PC is really all online, unless you're LAN partying in a spot. PlayStation, who has multiple PlayStations in the same spot. Right. I think this could be an interesting perspective of how to play with, kind of all the games. You think like Jackpot games where you have your device playing with there. I saw there's a new game, Lee, by some of the old developers with World of Warcraft, where they're basically using mobile games to play with a card-based game in that realm, with the console being the main source, but their mobile system is the one that's playing individually with cards. So it's basically it's a cooperative game locally. So I think Nintendo wants to bring back local play to their systems, and this is a way to do it. Incorporate all those people that already own Switches, which is a ton. I think, Mark, you've got 18 Switches in your house. Why not? So I think this is their way to play with AR and also multiple owners of Switches and incorporate into the Switch 2 technology. What I was hinting at earlier, Mark, with the Pokemon Company, I've heard there's going to be this weird cross-gen Pokemon where they'll offer a version on Switch 1, offer a version on Switch 2, but it's essentially 4 versions of the same Pokemon game. It's Emerald, it's Ruby, it's Diamond, and it's Amethyst. But you have to own each version across the board. So you have to buy 4 versions and a new Switch to do this. That is a Pokemon Company move, Mark.
That is a very I've never bought 2 of the same versions of a single.
But many people have.
Many people have. That is an absolute crazy move that I could see them trying to pull off.
Yeah. All right. So that is my thought on Nintendo. I think they're going to go interesting, weird, with more local co-op type of experiences with the Switches you already own, plus the new system. But that'll be hard to pull off because the Wii U is obviously not easy to pull off because people thought it was just a Wii edition. So let's go to Valve Steam. Mark, you don't play PC gaming, but obviously you know of Steam. Lee, you're deep in that infrastructure. I am too now with not having an Xbox, but living the world of PC for Xbox and my PC app. So where does Valve go next? They already introduced Steam Deck, which nobody thought was a thing, but it's a thing. And it's really changed the world of PC gaming.
Yeah, it's become a very it went from being a niche to being so mainstream. With all these other companies really releasing their own versions of the Steam Deck. This was the Steam Deck was definitely the progenitor of the whole thing. So good on them to really lead the way with it and really decide to take that leap and to bring PC gaming to the mobile masses. This is something that really the most mobile thing you could do for a PC gamer or for PC gaming was a laptop. And with that, you'd have to spend $3,000 to get a laptop that had a high-end GPU, enough RAM to really, keep things moving along. I mean, yeah, granted, there's other middle tier laptops that you could get that does what it'll play the game. But no, I think this is they definitely had a smart move in play when they did that when they released the Steam Deck. As for their future, it's very rare for Steam to hit on a hardware success. If you think about what they tried to do in the past, there were those
Steam Link, Steam machines, Steam controller.
Yep. Yeah. And by and large, they were all misses. So in reality, what do I see them doing? Maybe, and again, this goes back to our conversation about Xbox. Maybe they decide to create a box, a small box that similar to like an Apple TV style, where Steam, the Steam OS is built right into it. You download the games and you can go to a cloud and refer to that, and it'd be a perfect way to play the game. To play PC gaming without the massive entry point that PC gaming has, which by and large, you spend $600-$800 on a low end PC with an RTX 3060, you could get by, right? You can get by with decent gaming on that thing. So, for them to go into that type of market, I could see that being very feasible on their end.
Yeah, I mean, Steam has kind of found out with the Steam Deck, and I think this is a part people are okay with. People always think like, oh, PC gaming is the high end. As we found with the Steam Deck, people are okay with good enough. They just want to play the games. Kind of like people want the Switch. It's good enough. I just want to play games on the go, which I think is a marketplace which PCs haven't been able to get to. And now with the Steam kind of like verified for Steam, it runs. It's not ideal, but it's on a small screen, so people are good with it. So I think that's a untapped market that I think people that aren't necessarily all in on Nintendo because they want to play the third-party games, they want to play the indies. It's kind of that happy medium that just Xbox and PlayStation missed, and it's kind of cool. I like that focus. And the Steam machines tried, but it was just too expensive for the masses. It was all over the place, and quite honestly, Steam was just putting their name on it, and they didn't control the drivers. They didn't control all of these things, so it was kind of a weird miss.
A lot of it really was, as you mentioned, uncontrolled, and they just did it to put their branding on it, is what it is.
Yeah.
It's essentially what it was. It's small form factor gaming PCs is what they were.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would have to do some research to recall what type of hardware we were looking at, really, but it wasn't much.
No.
If anything, I believe they ran an Intel chip in there, which Sean Capri was mentioning. I think Chelsea has the same type of CPU that she's got now, is what they ran on the Steam machines. For that matter, graphic cards that they used back then were probably GTX 600 series GPUs that it's.
I mean, this is 2014 when the Steam machines were announced. So 10 years later, it's a world apart. I mean, we're talking about prices were probably really expensive. We're talking about CPUs that were the Core i7 477, GTX 780s, 760s. This is a long time ago. 16 gigabytes of GDR3 RAM, which
I had a GTX 660. I had two of them.
Yeah.
In my gaming rig at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and you didn't have the interface.
So
yeah, you didn't have the interface and make it easy. People didn't want to use a keyboard on their TV. It was not the right time. So maybe we're gonna change that. Okay, Mark.
A boost in terms of popularity as they increase their market share, really, with the Steam Deck.
Yeah. So, Mark, is there an entry point to the Valve Steam world that you would look into?
I've looked into the Steam Deck. I just don't have the money that I want to spend on another gaming thing right now. Like, I don't have a PlayStation 5 either, for the same kind of reason. If I had to choose between a PS5 and a Steam Deck, I don't know at this point which one I'd choose. Probably lean more towards a Steam Deck, but I think
you could play PlayStation games on it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Xbox games on it. Yeah.
So I think one thing with Steam is they have a good footing, or what feels like a good footing, but I think we also have to remember that the thing compared to most gaming consoles has sold pretty shitty. Have they maybe sold 3 million units? Possibly. If you compare it, people look at Wii U and they're like, that was such a dud, but it sold 14 or something, 15 million units, right? So Steam Deck has a lot to catch up on if they want to compete in the space. But I think one thing that we'll see over 5 years, because they consider it a success and they say we're happy with the multiple millions of units sold. But I think there's a couple of factors that I think will help Steam in the next 5 years. And one is mobile companies being forced to allow Steam to put their stores on alternate app stores and stuff like that. We see this stuff happening in the EU right now. That's eventually those, companies or governments are going to see that in, the United States, Canada, elsewhere, and start saying let Steam do their thing. Let other stores live on these mobile devices. So we'll see that. But I think we'll also see Valve and Steam make their interfaces, make their user experience a little bit more mainstream. Right now, the Steam Deck is still very PC nerd, gaming nerd heavy focused kind of thing of there's still drivers to worry about. There's still, things that
Lee, don't get offended. Mark's
Look,
hurting you. I know. I can feel it.
I mean, we're on a gaming podcast. Absolutely. I'm saying this from someone who is interested in this stuff.
What, Mark, you aren't interested in adapting your TDP on your power rankings, and what are you going to do to this? I mean, you love that stuff, right?
Yeah, of course. I think to get to the next level, they have to do that kind of thing, that consoles, that Nintendo, that everyone else is good at right now in this gaming space that sells multiple millions of copies. And that is make it so John Q. Idiot can walk into Walmart, buy a Steam Deck, and just bring it home and be I can play Madden without worrying about a goddamn thing other than typing in his Wi-Fi password. That kind of level. And I don't know if it has to be that level of simplistic, but working towards that easier user interface over the next 5 years, I think will definitely help Steam become more of a player in this, then like Lee, you kind of mentioned, like it's a kind of a niche thing, right? A lot of these things have been niche. Steam Deck is still niche, but it's the most successful niche that we've seen so far, and I think it's ready to blow up. But I think they have to do some really strategic moves to make it a little bit more friendly for the people that just pick up a couple of games a year and are like, okay, well, I don't, there's the Xbox, there's a PlayStation, there's a Switch. Oh, what's this Steam Deck thing? Can I get that? Will this play Madden and God of War and Halo? What the hell is this thing? Let me check it out, right? But like, there's some UI stuff that turns people off. So I think that's where we'll see them focus in the next 5.
Yeah, simplify the experience. That's where you succeed. Make it easy. Dumb it down. I'm in the same boat. And considering PC is the most, it's the most opportunity across the globe for games to succeed.
Yeah.
Consoles are not, because consoles are not readily available everywhere, but PCs are. And it's funny because the longest time, like they said on Steam, 1080, the RTX 1080 was like the most common GPU. Now it's the RTX 3060.
Yeah, it was the GTX 1060 was the most
yes.
common. And really, that's more so the fact that that's the 60 series, whether it's a 1060 or 2060, 3060, 4060. Those are the
mainstream.
They present with the most affordability when it comes to the entry point, because you don't need
absolutely.
I can build an RTX 3060 rig with a Ryzen 5 CPU, 16 gigs of RAM, 1 terabyte SSD. Give me about $800. I can do it.
Yeah. That's my son's rig right now. Yeah. You've got 32 gigs, but it's becomes like a scenario of understanding what's available worldwide. Most people worldwide can't play Nintendo games because the Switch isn't available in those markets. So PC tends to be the great divider. So our uniter in a lot of ways. That's why we saw a game like what was it? The Monkey King, China. I can't remember what the name of the game was. Wukong. Was it Wukong?
Yeah.
Black Myth. Yeah, exactly. It was the biggest game in China. It sold like 10 million copies out the gate because it was huge. So we know China's an untapped market, and we think of like Steam. I'm not sure if Steam's even readily available in China or not. I don't know. But once again, that is the great divider. That is great uniter with PC. But making it more optimal for users, SteamOS was a huge part there, along with like the big picture mode was where Steam was taking inroads. Microsoft is just like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why they've taken so long to take advantage of that. So hopefully they will. But I'm thinking to Lee, I think they'll go into a Steam box. They'll go to a Steam Deck-like system that can perform better because you can dock it. It's not powered. There's no screen. So they can optimize the things that are important for people, which people said, I don't want a PC because I don't want to be on my small screen. I want to sit on my couch. People want a game on their big screen. So having a Steam box that's maybe $500 and can do all those things, can also have the Xbox app on it, can also have PlayStation games on Steam. I mean, it gets you like 2/3 of the way of having all the games you could play for $500 on your big screen. Yeah. And then you have the Steam Deck if you want to play remote, and you've got this deck. So I think Steam's in a good position to be where everybody wants to be. They just have to get in the mode of how do you make it user friendly? How do you get away from adjusting all those funky settings, the drivers, and make it a little bit more streamlined, which a console is. Console is saying, we don't have to worry about all the innards. We want you just to play. And I think Valve is getting to that point where like, yeah, we don't want our users to have to worry that stuff because it's kind of silly. But having one form factor, one set of GPU, CPU, graphics cards, and RAM allows you to optimize and this game will work. You don't have to think about it.
I think back to Lee's first point of trends, like I think AI can help in this. Like if you have an AI on one of these that can go out and get those drivers that you need, that can download and do these updates and things that like 99.9% of people don't give a shit about and don't want to worry themselves with, like, make it that easy and you're set. And maybe AI is the trick to that. Maybe like you can have it as complicated as you want, but the AI is just doing all that stuff for you in the background and you don't have to worry about it. And then it becomes easy. And then it doesn't like, then they don't have to worry about stripping it down to console level, because as far as the user is concerned, it is console level easy, but the AI is taking care of all the complicated shit that like PC gamers love, but other people are just like, no, I ain't looking at that. Give me a Nintendo. You know, and like that
make it
level
easy
of stuff. Like if they can make it easy, maybe AI is the key. Who knows? But like, I think we're really, really close to seeing some of that kind of stuff being figured out.
Yeah. Valve's fine with letting other people handle the high end. Valve's like, just bring PC gaming to the masses, and I think that's where they've succeeded. So I think the last one is Apple with a wild card. If Apple ever decides to say, we are going to make our Apple TV Plus Premium Pro or whatever a gaming box that's on your PC or that's on your TV, they could really go far, and they could partner with somebody, but we'll see what Apple does. Well, that is our predictions of what's going to happen in the year 2029. I'll be an old man. Wow. I don't know if Mark will get tired of me and get a new wife in the world of gaming, but we'll see how that goes. So with that, Lee, tell everybody about yourself in regards to where they can reach you and the cool things you're doing for Extra Life.
All right. So for those who are not familiar, my name is Lee Navarro. I am one of the members of the Phoenix Overdrive Extra Life team. Extra Life, 24-hour gaming marathon to raise funds for Children's Miracle Network hospitals all over. So my team, we are bringing together gamers from all over. Sean Capri in the group from Carpool Gaming. We've got Save the Game Media with Kevin Ainsworth. Everybody's coming down to my section of upstate New York, the Utica Rome area. And we will all be playing games to benefit CMN hospitals on November 2nd from 10 a.m. on November 2nd until 9 a.m. on November 3rd. So feel free to join us as we stream our gameplay. Check out Carpool Gaming on their Twitch channel and YouTube. Same thing with Save the Game Media. And you can find our socials, our Twitch channels and all of that. Go check out phoenixoverdrive.com. There is also a link there to our Extra Life team page right over here, extra-life.org/team/PHXOD24. You can pick any one of our team members and donate to any of them. I'm going to be a shill and tell you to donate to my team and my hospital, because we also need all the funds that we can raise for our local miracle kids. But yeah, so that's pretty much it. Find me on the SFU Discord. I'm there. Just hit me up. My tag there is, I think it's still NCR. I don't know if I remember.
It is NCR, which nobody understands what it is, but we know it's you.
Have I never told you what that implied or what that was?
If you did, Lee, I don't even remember.
Todd, spell it backwards.
Raisin?
Yup.
Asians don't raisin.
Well, that too, but there was a time a long time ago. Quick anecdote. When I was in grade school, I loved raisins, and my friends all over would basically give me raisins from the school lunches. So I was therefore known as the Raisin King. And during my beginnings in World of Warcraft, my buddy was, we were playing the game, and, I said, boy, I don't know what to pick for a character name. He said, you should use the word raisin backwards. And it's stuck ever since.
Okay.
So there you go.
Okay.
Even my license plate is my gamer tag, my license plate for my car.
I did not.
I love it. God, I love it. That's amazing. And then, Lee, I saw you're going to an upgraded place. You're going to a university this year. That's amazing. It's going to be really awesome. That is amazing. And obviously, we support you. We support the Extra Life team. So we are going to do all our efforts to get you support. Obviously, it's going to be tough for Mark and I to get there. It's a tough haul. But I will be trying to stream this year because I've got a good PC. I'm going to try, and I'm going to get support there. And we want our folks to support you as well.
Yes, absolutely. And yeah, we're tremendously excited for our location this year. We are going to be holding our event at the Carbone Family Esports Auditorium at Utica University. Utica University's Esports Club. They welcomed us this year, and we are so excited to partner with them. And hopefully this will be the beginning of a beautiful relationship with the university.
Awesome.
Love it. I love it. Awesome. Folks, we'll be talking about the Extra Life fundraising. Bobby Pauls is a big part of that. We will be a big part of that. So follow us on Secret Friends Unite, and we will be supporting that. So, Mark, tell us where we can find you on the interwebs.
You can find me on Instagram, Threads, and TikTok as Canardian_Jedi. You can find me hanging out in our Discord group as well. And hit me up there if you want to play some Star Wars Hunters, some Fort Nightmares, or any other game that currently catches your interest. I need some good games. Apparently, Todd doesn't think I'm playing enough modern games, and I'm spending all my time on this thing playing the Pokemans. So hit me up with some game recommendations too.
Yes, please.
Vampire Survivors at this point.
Well, Mark's already in that universe. I mean, Mark, I don't know, get crazy, get weird, look into the deep dives of Xbox. Actually, you have Game Pass. Look what's there, man. Redfall. There's tons of
lapsed. I haven't even done Game Pass.
Oh no, Mark, you're the worst.
I know,
but we love you. You're the best. Oh my goodness, somebody give Mark a Game Pass subscription. But yes, Police Night Slashers on Switch. I've got that game. It's amazing. Right. It's very fun. It's a cool beat 'em up arcade game with the zombies. It's really good. Or my neighbors are zombies. That old game you can play on Switch. That's fun. It's an old school. What was it? My neighbors are zombies. What is that name on the games on the Switch or the Super Nintendo? Where
Zombies Ate My Neighbors?
Yeah, that and there's a collection now on Switch. Was that and the sequel? Play that, Mark. Right. Play that. Play something fun and old spooky. So there we go. Yeah, folks, taunt Mark. Make him play some new games. So with that, I am at Toxtra at Secret Friends Unite on the Threads. Check out our Discord. Check out our website. Check out our Patreon. But with that, folks, I want to say thank you to these wonderful gentlemen that have carried us through 5 years of gaming. Wow, Charlie will yell at us for having like the longest podcast in the world, but that's okay. We love gaming. We love talking about it. And thank you for joining us for 5 wonderful years, 150 wonderful episodes. And we'll be back next episode with a spooky episode. So with that, folks, I say, be the hero, not the villain. And remember, folks, it's always better to game together.
This podcast is part of the Secret Friends Unite podcasting network, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and podcast services around the galaxy, as well as video on our YouTube channel. You can support Secret Friends Unite by becoming a Patreon member, get bonus programs and more over at patreon.com/secretfriendsunite. Join our Discord community for even more discussions on all things geek. For all the latest updates on Secret Friends Unite, make sure to follow us on Threads at secret.friends.unite and visit secretfriendsunite.com. Find our merchandise at TeePublic and Redbubble. Thanks for listening, and may the Force live long and prosper.